not gonna lie and say that I didn't have fun doing it. It's a lot of fun. I'm in a fun unit where I'm blessed to be able to have fun, but there is a purpose.
Of course,
it's
exactly.
not just fun just to be a cop that's just going around having fun. And the purpose is to now get all those views. I want to say that week we gained over 100, not 100, 10 to 15,000 followers in a week, and most of it was tourists. Most of it was because what happens is the people that now were in Miami are like, oh wait, this is the page that I'm gonna need to follow to get my information. Where can I park? What's going on? So and then after that came the parking videos, and so we kind of like do this video for fun to get the attention on the page, and then follow it with your traditional police content that you got to put out, which is like, hey, where you can park, where you can't park, what's not allowed in the venue, what's allowed, the bags, this, that, all these important things that people need to know before going to a big event like that.
All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Stay Tranquilo episode. We are here with Ralph from the City of Miami Police Department. Thanks for coming on here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
And shout out to Ile for being able to put this together.
Absolutely.
Let's get into a little bit of your story. Yeah, right? I think people will be even more inclined to maybe want to go once
come
they
say
learn
hello.
a little bit about yourself. So let's rewind, like you were kind of telling us a little bit before we started recording. When you were in high school and you were thinking about going to college, you were talking about how, maybe being a doctor was something. You said you did a little bit of, you do music, and that was something that you were doing back then. Yeah. So talk about that whole process of before you became a cop and how it kind of progressed into becoming a cop today.
Yeah, for sure. So like everyone, when I was in high school, I had, ambitions and my dreams and what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to do something in the medical field. Okay. My shooting for the stars was I don't know. I was always very intrigued by being a neurosurgeon, a doctor. I don't know. It was very intriguing to me, and for a while there, my senior year, I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna go do. At the same time, since I was a little kid, I always wrote poems. That's just kind of like a way I expressed myself. And it sounds, saying it now is just, not that it's weird, it's just a little unconventional. I felt a certain way. I was into writing, I was a writer.
That was your thing, yeah.
And that transition to my junior, senior year, I had a friend who was a rapper, and he was like, hey, let's write a song. Then one thing led to another. I wrote a song, got into the hands of somebody else. Next thing I knew, I was getting flown to Canada by Akon.
That's crazy.
And literally the following week, I was up there performing and on a stage in Canada. So my life kind of shifted from going to college to the music world. And I was 18 at the time, so the next 8 years of my life was dedicated to music, and I was having the time of my life. I was 18, 19, 20 years old. I was writing for other artists. I was a rapper, a pop singer, whatever myself too. I was really involved. I worked with Akon's people locally. I did work with a lot of people. I was part of Pitbull's camp. Never with Pitbull specifically, but I worked with a lot of people. And so I was full blown into chasing that dream. But I always knew in the back, I have an uncle who's been a police officer. Okay. He's still with the county. Nice. For, I want to say he's approaching 20 years now. He's more like my brother. We lived together. I would always pick his brain about police work. So I always knew I wanted to be a cop also. So after about 8 years with the music, and I had some success, and so it's hard. Entertainment business it's cutthroat. It's difficult. So one day I said, you know what, that's in my past. I'm ready to get my career as a police officer, and I applied with the city, and I got on with the city. And at the time I was 26. Little did I know, 8 years later, I would be in the social media unit now for the police department, where I'm doing music and video again. More video because like I was telling you before, we have a YouTube series that we do. But definitely a lot of experience and a lot of things that I did and accomplished with the music before becoming an officer. It's all like, it's all part of what I call, like, your arsenal, like these little things that you learn and you take with yourself going forward and builds the person you are. And then I get into this unit and I'm able to, whether it's talking on camera, doing what we're doing right now, I did a lot of that as an artist, or whether it's editing the videos that I edit, being in the social media unit. So we have a podcast. So for those people that don't know, because I'm talking about podcasts and series, because you guys know because I told you, but for the people that are watching that have no idea, we have a social media unit where we have officers assigned to it, and we are basically in charge of just running the social media, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook, the YouTube, and it's been very successful. I have to give props to the person who started it, which is my partner, Nick. At Nick Off Duty, it was him and Sergeant Reyes at the time had the idea to start a Miami Police vlog. If you go on YouTube and search Miami Police vlog, you can go back to like the history of it. The vlog was extremely successful back in 2016. So I'm talking about millions and millions of views, getting mail from all across the world. I watched the vlog before becoming an officer. It's what attracted me to the city to work there. So they kind of like set the framework. So then it evolved into a whole different thing that just grew and grew and grew to the point where they needed another officer because it was getting too big, and then they needed another one, and then here I come, and now it's 3 of us that are assigned to the unit. We have 1 civilian, Anissa. Shout out to her. She does our analytics. We have a full functioning social media unit. We take it very serious because we see the importance of being active on social media as a department, and the benefits that it has to basically get ahead of the information that's being put out there. If there's a video going viral, or there's something that we can address, or if there's something we could be a little bit funny and transparent with, and really connect with the people on social media in a lighthearted way. We use it for everything, and I'm blessed to be in that unit. So there you go. So it's a creative unit. So you have to be able to sit down and brainstorm. Hey, we need to, for example, we'll get tasked with a video that says, hey, we want to put out a video just talking about, pedestrians. We've had a lot of pedestrians being hit on 8th Street, on Calle Ocho, which happens, unfortunately, in Little Havana a lot. That's why you see on 8th Street by, like, the area of, like, Ball and Chain, or that area over there. There's a lot of those crosswalks because for whatever reason, 8th Street and Flagler. So we'll brainstorm and we'll put the message out there in a very social media friendly way, whether it's a reel, whether it's a video, a podcast style. We have our podcast, so we use all those strategies that any private company or any private person that's trying to grow their page would use. We use it in that way for the department also. Yeah, no,
I mean, we were talking about it before. It's a great way to connect with the everyday folk, right? We are the ones that we're on our phones all the time, and if we come across a clip and you're like, oh, shoot, like, I didn't know this was a thing. So it's a great way for it to be relevant, but for us also to stay informed in a way that we're used to consuming content.
For sure.
Because the days of just putting a post on and saying, like, hey, just watch out with the crosswalks on 8th Street, like, someone's going to blow right by that,
99% of people will blow right by it.
So you guys create something that's more relevant, then people are going to be like, oh, shit, you know what? I'm maybe going to be more cautious when I walk around there. Or inform people that I know that are always around that area to be more cautious around there.
For sure. For example, I'm sure everyone here, if you live in Miami, you've seen this. The kids on the bicycles that are doing the wheelies, and they come at the car, and then the last second they turn the wheel, and they're like causing havoc on the streets. And they're young kids for the most part, usually like high school kids. And so we're like, hey, let's do a video to talk about, hey, the importance of following, the rules. And it was actually a really funny video. My partner, got dressed up. My partner Nick, he very talented. He's a videographer and he was a comedian in the past. He's very funny. He's very creative and he's good at what he does. So he dressed up as, like as a teenage kid and he was doing wheelies. And then I came and gave the message. So we do it in a way for people to be like, again, what would be the alternative? Either, like I told you earlier, come out and just do a talking video, no one's gonna listen to it, or what, print a bunch of flyers like, hey, this one, I want to post them on polls.
Yeah.
So, and if you look at it numbers wise, if that video got 100,000 views, you just got 100,000 people to look at a video about kids doing bikes on wheelies.
Yeah.
There is no amount of officers you can hand flyers to that they will hand out 100,000. And not just hand out, get the people, because how many times you been handed a flyer that you're like, oh, thank you so much.
And it's meaningful.
Yeah. So not just hand out the flyers, but how would you get 100,000 people to actually consume that information and say, oh man, this is something. So when we see the number, that's something that we don't take lightly because it shows. And then when you go out there and you see people, hey man, I saw that video, I saw it. So, it's nice to know the work that you're putting in. It's being watched, it's being consumed.
Absolutely.
There's no way in the social media world to know the direct impact. We can't say, hey, look, we have had this month 10 less pedestrians hit by a car. It's for sure because of the video. There's no way to gauge it, but I guarantee you, and anyone that follows our pages knows, like it definitely is necessary from a police
100%.
department standpoint to be ahead of these trends and some of these dangerous trends and some of these things that you just got, if the police department isn't going to address it, then no one is. So we need to be the ones that are in front and on top of that.
Yeah, definitely. Tell them a little bit about the video that you guys did for Ultra.
Oh yeah, the Ultra, that was a fun video. So Ultra, maybe like 2-3 years ago, me and my partner went viral dancing on the sidewalk. And it was again, Ultra's coming up. We sat in an office just like this. Hey, it was maybe mid-February because Ultra's at the end of March. And we got to start gearing up for Ultra because Ultra we know how big Ultra is. In the city, we take in hundreds of thousands of tourists coming from all over the world. And these people, it's like they come here, they don't know where to park. They don't know, some of the laws are different from their countries.
True.
Some, it's just a big, from a department standpoint, it's a monster to have to cover from the officers that are needed on the ground and at Ultra, staff to the PR standpoint, public relations, getting that information out there in real time. If God forbid there was any type of crisis situation, so it's a lot that goes into it. So we're thinking about, what are we gonna do? How we got to get the people's attention to really, and so we did the video dancing on the sidewalk, and it got the attention. Went viral. We got millions of views on the dancing video. It's fun. I'm not gonna lie and say that I didn't have fun doing it. It's a lot of fun. I'm in a fun unit where I'm blessed to be able to have fun. But there is a purpose.
Of course,
it's not just fun just to be a cop that's just going around having fun. And the purpose is to now get all those views. I want to say that week we gained over 100, not 100, 10 to 15,000 followers in a week, and most of it was tourists. Most of it because what happens is the people that now were in Miami are like, oh wait, this is the page that I'm gonna need to follow to get my information. Where can I park? What's going on? So and then after that came the parking videos. And so we kind of like do this video for fun to get the attention on the page and then follow it with your traditional police content that you got to put out, which is like, hey, where you can park, where you can't park, what's not allowed in the venue, what's allowed, the bags, this, that, all these important things that people need to know before going to a big event like that.
Absolutely. So that's on the social media side, right?
Yes.
You're also in the process, now it's season 2, I think you were telling me.
Yes.
Of that series that's more of like the day of the life of a cop.
Yeah. So last year, 2023, like I told you guys earlier, I had the Miami Police vlog was always that is what started our YouTube channel, and it's still getting plays. The Miami Police vlog was very successful. So then my thing was like, I want to start a series, and I wanted to make it more like the show cops, where it was just going out there and showing the patrol guys. Because we cover a lot of the specialized units, and because we have a lot of really cool units. We have, our aviation detail, our horses, our canine, our SWAT, our Marine Patrol, our boats. Working as a police officer in the city of Miami, we really do have everything. if you ever wanted to be an officer, shameless plug for recruitment, but if you ever wanted to be an officer, we have something for everybody. And sometimes it's just natural to overlook the most important people, which are the patrol people, which are the ones that are answering the 911 calls, the ones that are first ones there. So when I sat, I was like, man, I want to create something for them. And that's where the city series came. If you go on YouTube, it's called the City Miami Police Patrol. And man, I have so much fun doing it. I'm recording season 2 now, and I really, really enjoy it because I could see when I go to the roll calls and they see that I'm there, I see the excitement. Because I remember being that patrol officer working midnights on a Saturday in Little Haiti or in Coral Way, and no one ever sees you, and you're not out there like looking for recognition. You're doing this job because you love it. It takes somebody else to come and be like, you know what, let's recognize these people. So I like filling that gap for the department right now. Thankfully, we have a chief and an administration that's given me the green light to do it. And I just take my camera out there and I just go for the ride and sometimes we have a crazy shift and sometimes it's a quiet shift, and that's how it is. I don't try to make it anything else by editing. And no, I record the episode of the shift of that officer, and it's gotten really good feedback in the department for morale. It is good because it's something that the officers see, like, oh man, they're out there, they're seeing, what we're doing. And then outside of the department, I was telling you earlier, I get stopped. Since I started doing this, it was really shocking to me how much I got stopped by people in the street that want to be officers or that really just enjoy watching it. Like, hey man, keep on doing what you're doing. And all that stuff it motivates you. Because when you have a 9-year-old come up to you, that's like, you see his eyes light up when he sees you. It's like and especially when I already know where they saw me from if they call me the City Ralph, because no one calls me the City Ralph.
Right.
My name is Ralph or Ralphie but when I hear people, hey, the City Ralph, I'm like, oh, that person knows me from the series. And it's been happening more and more frequently.
That's cool.
And it's really cool to see that one, it's being consumed, people are watching it, people enjoy it. So it's just all around been a good thing, like I said, for the officers, for the community. And I'm in the middle of recording season 2. I've got like 3 episodes done. I'm gonna plan to start putting them out. We're like mid-October right now. I want to start putting them out like beginning of November.
Okay.
So it's coming out soon,
Yeah.
and it's already got some good stuff on there,
Nice.
and I enjoy doing it. So.
And you got body cam footage on there.
Yeah, I got
it's everything.
body camera. So like, and to give the people an idea that haven't seen it, and maybe after this you can go search it up. Like I said, it's called the first season was 7 episodes. This one's gonna be more.
Okay.
The first season, like anything, was kind of like feeling it out, how I'm gonna do it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But basically, I'm there with a camera, vlog style, selfie style. I'll introduce the officers and we go on the roll. We start answering the patrol calls. And at the end of the day, I'm an officer as well. So I have a body cam. If a hot call goes out, I drop the handheld camera and I go body cam, and you get to see firsthand me working as an officer and the officer that I'm with working as well. And it's very interesting because it could be anything from, like, last season we had a stolen truck that flipped over, and that's like crazy call, right? And it flipped over right in Wynwood. It's like the guy turns and flips over the train track. He tries running out. We have him at gunpoint and everything. Got all this on camera. So yeah, you're gonna have those calls, but then you get your calls that are more a landlord-tenant dispute. You're gonna get a call of someone that says, he hasn't been paying me my rent. I want him out of here today. And then you're just explaining the process of an eviction process. And for some people that's very interesting. Some people are like, man, I always wondered,
They don't really know
can
how it
they really
works.
just kick me out, or
Yeah.
how does it go? So again, it's beneficial to see, the high speed, work and the amazing job. Because I say it all the time. Our department, whether it's training, whether it's the hiring department, our recruitment, we have going out there on patrol for the last year and a half. And because I have been off patrol for a bit, going out there and seeing the motivation and seeing the morale, it excited me. It got me motivated to go out there and really start recording with them more, because they do amazing work and they're like humping calls. Miami's, we all know Miami's growing. It's an international city. And it's growing right now as we're talking. There's 5 buildings probably were just built since I got here. So it's growing so fast. So as a police department, man, those cops get out there and they're just nonstop. It's not like working a smaller department. It's not like working in Miami Springs and nothing against those departments. It's just not.
Right.
The amount of calls you're gonna handle as a Miami police officer in 1 year, it's similar to what some officers will handle in 5 years. So you do build a lot of experience and you become a seasoned officer here very fast. And I see these guys doing amazing work, and man, that's what I love showing on the City Series, because we get to calls that I remember when I first started. You get to the call, and it's always like, it's what we would call a cluster. You know, it's like you got this person screaming, he's over there, and this person, this, and that, and you got like a million things going on, and you're there, and it's on you. So like, and then these officers get out there, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. Here down the checklist, who's first, who's the threat, and man, I record and I'm able to show all of that. And police work to me, and I'm not saying this just because I'm a little biased, but it's one of, if not the hardest job in the world, because you cannot train for every situation.
Right.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
There's scenarios that you will never have trained for, because it's like you said, we're humans, and there's no way to train for it. So a lot of times you're going into a situation, you could have been on for 10 years, but this might be the first time you see that. And you have to be able to handle it, and it could be a life or death situation.
Right.
Someone's life is on the line. So I'm saying all of this because, again, that's why I really enjoy doing the City Series, because it shows the patrol aspect, who are the first ones there. Not to take away from our investigations, from our detectives,
right.
from our specialized units, because it's like, it's a domino effect from patrol all the way back. So we're at historic lows with crime rates, because our detectives are doing amazing work closing cases. Our specialized units are doing amazing work. So I'm proud of the department right now, for sure, top to bottom.
I think a few things off of that, right? I mean, I think the first thing is, one, the transparency that you're able to provide through something like that. People are able to see exactly what's really you know going on in a live situation, right? You kind of, you turn on the news and you might hear like the end of a situation or an ongoing situation, but you're not really seeing what's happening in between the weeds, right? Which like the show Cops obviously is like a great representation of kind of like that component of it. And it's entertaining, but it does give you perspective, right? Obviously, one of the things that has been a looming discussion for the last couple of years is this whole police brutality and everything that's been going on, right?
Sure.
But here you are, and you're able to show, hey, we're doing our job, and you don't really understand what the hell goes into our job when we're going through a chaotic situation. I don't know how else to put it, right?
For sure.
It's chaos at some points, and I'm sure you know better than anyone, right? So for me, it's always good to be able to show that, because people kind of need to see, like, this is what's really going on, and you can have your opinions and all these things, but how can you really have a true opinion on something if you don't really know what's happening? So
for sure.
You doing that gives people perspective on things.
100%. And that's what we want to be as transparent as possible.
Yeah.
And that's why, like I said, going all the way back to 2016 when they started this unit, we were ahead of the curve for police departments on social media. Now you see police departments are on social media. You've got sheriff departments on TikTok going viral.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, and
I see a lot of it.
And I'm proud of it. I'm like, yes, you need to be on there. Your community needs to see you as a police department active on social media, because that's where people are consuming their information. It's like the days of just like putting on the Channel 7 news at 5 p.m. are kind of gone, especially with the younger generation. So being transparent and showing the officers that have to make split-second decisions that come with so many repercussions. And when you become an officer, you understand that. And that's why you have to take this job very serious, because again, you get put in situations where the call is on you. You know, your sergeant or supervisor, you get, hey, should I do this? Should I? No, like the call's on you. In that moment, life or death situation, and you always got to make sure that you're prepared for it. And again, we are all human, and that's why there's always room for error. And in those errors, as long as you are acting in good faith, because you go back into police brutality and you go back into the bad apples. That's something that we don't shy away from, and I won't shy away from. It exists.
Of course, it's like anything.
It's like any
occupation.
Any occupation, you're gonna have your bad apples. Whether it's a doctor, whether it's a reporter, whether it's But the problem
politicians,
is, in the police world, we can't afford it, because, like I said, sometimes it's a life or death situation, and there's not many professions that your mess up could lead to the death of somebody.
Right.
You know? True. So that is why it's so amplified as a police officer. And and the ones who are, abuse or take advantage of the badge, 99.9% of the officers, and I can speak for them all, because they'll all agree with me right now. We can't stand the bad ones just as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that put the stain on the profession for the ones that are out there doing the amazing work that I see every single day.
Absolutely.
And that's where I come in to show that, because at the end of the day, what's going to go viral or what's going to really make the headlines, it's unfortunately, not to say that the media doesn't cover some of the good stuff, but it's like anything. It's they're a business, and
Yeah,
they're gonna
it's a little regulated.
and whatever is a story. And if you have an officer doing something wrong, that was fired, that was found, this, that, it's a story.
Yeah.
And so that's going to get amplified. So we take it upon ourselves to be like, okay, well, we need to be the voice for the other 99% that are out there doing good work. That's why we have our podcast, the Man Police Podcast. That's why our Instagram, we're on Reels, we're every holiday community event, we're out there because we want the community to be able to see, and they do. I want to say in Miami, I can't speak for other departments and other cities in the country because I've only worked for Miami, but I can say without a doubt that we are one of, if not the best, with just being transparent on social media, because we have been in the forefront of it since the inception.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we get into the next topic,
Yeah.
you brought up something that I figured I don't know if you can answer it or if you have anything on it, but because we do so much in the sports world and you're a Fins fan,
Yeah, Dolphins fan.
I gotta ask about that whole Reek situation.
My God.
What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, it was super unfortunate.
Yeah.
Listen, I've got Tyreek Hill on my fantasy team. I'm like, let him go. but no, like going to those county officers and those that were there.
That was Miami-Dade, right?
That was Miami-Dade.
Yeah.
And it's something, again, it goes viral on social media.
Right, of course.
With no context.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
all respect to Tyreek and all respect to the officers that were there. It's something that whenever I see something like that, I reserve my opinion.
Yeah.
And not just my comment, because people say, oh, I'm not going to comment.
Of
No, I
course.
really reserve my honest opinion
Yeah.
until I know the facts.
Yeah.
Because until I know the facts, I can't, because
hard-
you can
it's
look
hard.
at something and be like, oh man, this looks like this, but you don't know what the backstory was. I'm glad that I think in this situation, I think Tyreek ended up coming out and then the department
Right.
and like kind of like smooth things
Of course,
over.
yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we just, and I can speak for them and us saying that we just want a good relationship with the community, especially our Dolphins players.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, but that
It was a crazy situation.
That was a crazy situation.
And like this would be the way the Dolphin season starts.
Right. It would.
It's a movie with these guys.
But we're used to it. We're used
Yeah.
to the roller coaster ride as Dolphin fans.
Yep.
Wouldn't have it any other way. Let's see. Hopefully, Tua can come back and
We'll see. Hopefully,
come back
hopefully
healthy.
soon. We win this weekend. I think we're in a good place.
Yeah, because we just had our bye week. What are we? 3 and
Two and three right now. If we win this weekend, we're 3
We'll be
and
back to
3, and
500 and-
essentially, Tua should come back after that
Yeah,
week.
and I'm a glass half full type of person. I'm
Me too.
optimistic. I go to I'll be at all Dolphin games
Nice.
this year. I was there when Tua got hurt. I was there the
Same.
last was it a Thursday night game? What was it against the Titans?
That
Or
was
it
a Monday night.
night? I was
Yeah.
there, and I'm gonna be at the Cardinals game, which is our next home game. So if you see me out there, say hello. I love my Dolphins, man.
Me too.
So I grew up. I have pictures, 3 years old with the Dolphins jersey on. A tribute to my dad. My dad was so.
Same.
We could do a whole podcast
Yeah,
about the Dolphins.
We can go on a rant.
Bring me back, and we'll have a whole
For
Dolphins
sure.
podcast.
Hell yeah. But something we were talking offline, and is a big topic that we like to talk about, and obviously relevant with the Hometown Heroes event and just the day-to-day of your occupation and the first responders.
Yeah.
Mental health, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you see a lot, you deal with a lot, first responders see a lot and deal with a lot.
Yeah.
How do you were talking about a story on your first week of the job of,
Yeah.
a circumstance that you ran into. How do you deal with the day-to-day of the job and protect your mental health with some of the things that you deal with?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I'm glad over the years has come to the forefront,
Yeah.
because it's something that I want to say traditionally, maybe like back in the days with police work, a lot of officers didn't want to seem weak, or reach out for help because they felt it would look like if they were weak. And look, at the end of the day, first responders, firefighters, healthcare workers, and there's some other professions too, but for the most part, you see things that the normal person won't see. You see things that you signed up to see so that other people don't have to see it. And does it affect you? Sure, 100%. And that's when you have to know the resources that are available to you, and always, we have a saying within the department too. You know, sometimes officers still maybe kind of like more introvert and keep things to themselves, but always check on your partner, always check on your buddy, especially if you know they went through a traumatic situation,
Right.
and we're constantly checking on each other. And we have a lot of resources. We have chaplains available to us. We have therapists. We have our peer support program. We have many resources that if you do ever find yourself in a situation where you're like, man, this call really can't get it off my mind, and whether it be involving a child or whether
Right.
it be a crash that was really bad or a shooting or an incident, where at least you always have somewhere to go, somewhere to turn to, and it's imperative for the officer, because it's one thing having the resources, but what we really try to stress is don't just know the resources are there, but
Utilize them, yeah.
And just because you use it doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you strong.
Yeah.
It actually makes you strong-minded,
100%.
believe it or not. And when I got it, I was talking about my incident. First week on the street, I get into a shooting, and thankfully was able to save a 27-year-old girl who was about to be murdered. Unfortunately, had to take someone's life in the situation. The guy was stabbing the girl. There was really not much time for talking, because the moment I got there, he was already in the act of murdering her. So as a rookie officer, going through that, yeah, absolutely. I use our peer support. I went to the therapy, and it doesn't. And I don't say that because I was completely distraught. I say that because you go through something that not many people see,
Yeah.
and that you yourself, when you become a cop, that you're gonna see something. But it's one thing knowing, but then when it happens, that's when you're like, okay, this it's part of the job. So this job, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It has its beautiful, amazing side, the Hometown Heroes Parade, the community relations, the life lasting relationships that you build. And then it has this ugly side of policing, and the ugly side consists of, you're gonna see death, you're gonna see homicides, you're gonna see, situations involving children, you're gonna see, and that's why I wear the badge with pride. And that's why I'm very proud of every other officer that made that decision, because you make that decision knowing that you're gonna see some crazy stuff and you still do it. So to me, that says a lot about your character and the type of person. It truly is a calling. It truly is a job where I felt from a very young age I wanted to do something that would help people. And I didn't know I was gonna be a cop. I thought maybe I'll be a firefighter until I went to EMT school, and I was like, I don't really like the medical aspect of stuff too much. So maybe the doctor thing I was talking about before wouldn't have worked out anyways. So once I just decided it wasn't the firefighter route, the police route ended up being home for me, and it comes with its good side, its bad side, and you do have to utilize, going back to the Hometown Heroes parade. Yes, we want to really appreciate the first responders, but also at the same time bring awareness to the mental health aspect of it. I talked a lot about police, but let's not the firefighters and the healthcare workers
Right.
too, because the fire department, they see just as much or maybe even worse stuff
True.
than us. And then the healthcare workers that are there at the hospitals, they're the ones that are there. They see, so they all, I'm sure, have their resources to them as well. I think it's a cultural thing
100%.
that has grown in the last few years with mental health across the world, really, not just in law enforcement. I want to say mental health as a whole has really has really come to the forefront of things, and it should be, because it's life is hard. Life is hard. We all go through things. We all go through financial struggles, family struggles. So imagine being that cop, or not just that cop. Let's not just focus on police. Imagine just being that person that had that crazy day at work, or that officer that maybe just saw homicide, but then you get home and you got financial and family struggles as well, and it's just all falling apart.
Yeah.
So mental health, it doesn't mean that you're weak. It just means that you need some help, and reach out and get the help that you need. It's there.
Absolutely. That's great to hear that, the resources there are available, and that you guys are using them, right? I think obviously you have a different kind of perspective of what your day job looks like compared to, myself and people maybe listening to this, right?
Yeah.
But to your point, mental health doesn't it doesn't
It doesn't just target first responders.
exactly,
It's across the board.
It's applicable to everybody.
Absolutely.
Right? And life is tough, and we all have problems, and I think there is a vulnerability that comes with paying attention to your mental health. It consists talking to people. It consists maybe going to therapy. It consists of a lot of different things, but
Yeah.
you have to do the part. Just like you take care of your physical fitness,
Mm-hmm.
you got to take care of your mental fitness and your mental
Absolutely.
health, right? And that takes time, effort, energy, and everybody's kind of approach to it, I think, is different,
Mm-hmm.
but it is important. And hearing it come from a cop or a first responder or a firefighter, I think is powerful, right? Because
Yeah.
they're the ones that you're like looking at them, and people look at them as heroes, right? But people also see like, damn, if they're doing that and they're going through it, then maybe I should go through it too, and know that I can
You
go
can
see a
overcome.
therapist and I can overcome whatever I'm kind of dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. There's many things that we all deal with in life across the board, and reach out to the resources that you have
Yeah.
and speak to family and speak to friends. Use everything that's at your disposal, and yeah, it's something that like I said, I'm glad it's come to the forefront.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're having this conversation about mental health, and it's necessary. You nailed it, saying that especially Miami. I want to say we are like the fittest city in the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
And it's a culture here of working out.
Right.
I want to say when my parents, I was born in. I'm gonna age myself right now. I'm 37 years old. I was born in '87, and I want to say, and those times, I'm not gonna say that no one was fit back then, but
Very different culture.
But very different
Yeah.
culture than right now. It's like I think everybody I meet works out.
Yeah.
Like everyone that I meet, I barely meet anyone. Not to say anything about the people, those of you that don't work out. You should. It's very good for you. But just as important as that physical being in the gym and being there is the mental aspect. And sometimes they both intertwine.
They do, 100%.
Because the physical fitness
It's key to your mental health.
key to your mental health. Like my
100%.
thing is like some people like to lift heavy weights. Some people, my thing is running. I love to jog. I've been running miles and miles and miles for years now. I grew up playing sports, and I run because I love it, number one, but I run number two because I have two daughters. I have my job. I have it's my 30 minutes to just detach, put my AirPods, and just kind of like drift, and just really like take it all in and like refocus myself for the next day. And that's my thing. Everyone is gonna have their different thing, fishing, basketball, you're gonna have and all those things. Find what for you is your peace.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that does help your mental health. You need to sometimes we're in a rut and you need those outlets.
100%. For me, running has been a big thing. The gym is definitely another one. And golf has been a huge thing for me
Gotcha.
too.
Oh yeah, I did see. I came on your page. I saw you guys are big on golf.
Yeah,
I
big
could
golf.
use some golf lessons.
I got you.
So once I played sports my whole life, golf is the
hard, bro.
only sport
Golf is fucking hard.
that I have trouble with.
It's so hard.
Not to say I'm great in all the other ones, but I can at least hang.
Right.
I go play golf with my boys. I have two. A friend of mine who's a firefighter, and another friend, and they play golf, and I'm like, I can't hang with them. I can't, and they're not
tough.
the greatest, but I suck.
Dude,
it's hard.
it is hard, bro. And you're not the only one that people have played
It's
sports
tough.
their whole life, and then they
But the
get
older
to
we
picking
get-
up a club, and it's just like
I will say the older we get, the harder it is for me to go play basketball. So I need to learn golf.
Exactly.
Because I'm getting older and
Oh,
my body
that
hurts.
was my thing too. I would love to go play, 5-on-5 with the boys, and just it would always be a great time. But then we started getting to that age where a guy was rolling his ankle, and then he was out he can't go to work now because his fucking ankle is like this big,
Yep,
and we're
yep.
like,
And-
guys, we're at that point where it's just not worth it.
Yeah,
you
and-
know?
and
we
you
think we
kinda-
can play and recover the same way we used to, but
No, if I go, and I do still play a lot of basketball. So, but I will say this, if I go a couple months without playing basketball, after playing that first game, I'm like sidelined for a week. Like everything hurts.
It's true.
Because basketball, you're just kind of like moving
Your body's
everything.
moving in
Or
ways-
football,
yeah.
same thing. We used to play flag football all the time. I went
Yeah.
to play flag football the other day. I couldn't move for a month.
Yeah.
So it's like, so then you realize, oh, this is why everyone starts playing golf. Because when you're younger, you're like, why do you guys play golf? Like the older guys, my grandfather, my dad. But now it all makes sense because we all like that. If you played sports,
Yeah,
you like that
exactly.
competition, that competitiveness of playing a sport.
you don't lose it. You got to use it somewhere. Once
So-
you've done it your whole life, you're
So
like,
I
gotta
will
find a
say
way.
that in my future, I'm going to be practicing a lot more golf
Nice.
because
Hell yeah.
for the time I can still hang with basketball a little bit, but I'm getting,
It's therapeutic at some capacity,
Yeah.
but then you start getting hard on yourself because you get frustrated.
the
But
competitive nature comes out.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
But that's what makes it fun.
A few questions that I want to ask you, kind of like rapid fire style, before we kind of wrap it up.
Yeah.
My first question to you is, what's been your favorite memory as an officer?
Ooh,
I'm sure you probably got a few of them,
Yeah.
but if you had to pick one,
If I had to pick one, I mean, as I'm thinking about it, this just stands out so much.
Yeah.
It was the incident that I got into.
Wow.
Obviously not the shooting aspect, but the saving aspect.
Right.
Because when I became an officer, you always do think about, man, maybe I can save someone's life one day. Maybe, and to do it so early on. And this girl was 27 years old, had just moved from Cuba 6 months before that, happened to be my neighbor. You know, she had moved in with her sister. She was having issues with the ex, who's the one that tried to kill her. So, you know, I get put in this situation where I definitely don't believe it was a coincidence. I believe I was put there in that moment
1000%.
for her.
Yeah.
By the man up above, because in where I live in Miami Lakes, you know, like just the coincidence of me getting there at that moment was too much. So I really hold that incident near and dear to my heart. It happened very early on, but I have a lot of amazing memories in my 8 years on. I really do. But that to me is something that I'll take with me forever. You know, there's a girl out there right now walking around, living her life because I was there that day.
True that.
And I say that in the most humble way possible, not
No,
tooting my own
dude.
horn, like, oh, I'm a hero. No, I say that
You are.
to really like tell you how crazy it feels that when going through it, just being like, man, if I wasn't there, she would have died.
Yeah.
And on the holidays, they send me pictures, you know, like she'll send me pictures with her family on Christmas, on the New Year's, you know, thank you. And it's just, man, like I'll take that with me to the day that I die. So that's definitely I hold that incident near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, I mean, it's a powerful moment and something that, like you said, you're never gonna forget
Yeah.
that, because, like you said, you saved someone's life, and that to me, I think, I mean, I don't know if there's anything better.
And when you become an officer, I guess that's the top. You know,
Yeah.
you just want to help people, and saving somebody is like,
Huge.
that's like winning the Super Bowl. You know, you saved a life, and hopefully throughout my career, you know, and I say this not to. I know this was supposed to be rapid fire.
No, you're good. Okay.
But I saved a life, but there are so many incidences where that word was wrong. Incidents where lives are saved, but we'll just never see it or know it because the officer got there in time, or the officer did something
True.
that avoided a whole situation
Yeah.
that would have happened.
Right.
So there's many, like all these officers, you know, mine just happened to happen, but there's a lot of lives being saved daily that we don't never know about, and it's a good thing that we don't know about it because it never happened. It
Exactly.
didn't get to happen.
Yeah, no, like you said, divine timing put you there, and you were there at the
Yeah.
right place at the right time.
For sure.
So your next question, what's your favorite Finns memory?
Ooh, my favorite Finns memory. Man, let me tell you, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. I think we're similar in age, maybe, or
I'm
like
30 or 29. I'm about
29.
I'll be 30 in
Okay,
August.
so you like me. Last year was our funnest year as a Dolphins fan.
I agree. 100%.
I mean, it
in
was
our,
like
in our lifetime.
In our lifetime,
Yeah.
watching those games, just being like, we're
You
scoring
had,
40.
you had Marino, so I didn't really watch too much Marino.
Yeah, but Marino, I mean, he retired like what, 99?
99, yeah.
Yeah, I was 12. So yeah, I do kind of remember it, but I didn't really enjoy. That was when he retired. I didn't really enjoy
True.
the
prime
years that he
years.
was putting up numbers.
Yeah.
To see an offense last year that me and my boys are watching the games and we're just like, touchdown,
Yeah,
touchdown,
it was
80-yard
fun.
bombs, 70-yard bombs,
Yeah.
like Waddle, Tyreek, Achan, and I was at the Denver game that we
Me
scored.
too. That game was insanity.
So
That was
it
best. That's one of the funnest games I've ever
I
been
sat
to.
in my seat,
Yeah.
and I want to say I was standing up every 5 minutes because we scored a touchdown.
That's true.
I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, that's so true.
So I want to say my greatest memory as a Dolphins fan, aside from who was it? Who was the one that caught a Camarillo that stopped us from going 1-15? It was Camarillo, right?
And Cleo Lemon was
And
quarterback.
Cleo Lemon, you know, they saved us from going 0-16. But obviously the Wildcat year was fun, and but man, last year just I want to say as a whole it sucked the way it ended, but
Yeah.
as a whole it was such a fun year, and it's something that as a Dolphin fan we never felt anything like that. For a minute there towards the end, we were number one in the whole conference.
Yeah.
We were number one in the conference.
I hadn't seen that.
Like whatever, we were
ever, I don't
9-3,
think.
and we
Yeah.
were like above Kansas City. So you know what? Hopefully it's a sign of things to come.
I hope so too. I actually went to the Kansas City playoff game.
Oh,
last
you
year.
did?
Yeah, and
Cold.
the negative 26 degrees or whatever the hell it ended up being.
And you know, I think about that, and it's like if we would have just won, what is it?
I know.
We would have
The Tennessee-
had the home field advantage.
We had the Tennessee game and the Buffalo game. Those last two games, all we had to do was win one of them.
and we wouldn't have had to go on to play in the cold. We
Yep.
would have had the home field advantage. Could have been a whole different story.
That's the biggest
It's hard to
problem with
ask
the Finns.
any team,
Yeah.
let alone us,
Exactly.
to go into
Defending
Kansas
champs
City
in negative 26
against
degree weather
Mahomes.
with injuries. Like,
It's tough. It was tough for them, but
Yeah.
that's why the regular season is important when it comes to that home field advantage.
1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%.
But, so
We'll
last
see.
year as a whole was
I
a good
agree.
memory.
That's a good memory. Usually people say the Miami Miracle.
Oh, that was. I mean,
Which
that's up there.
That's a crazy game, but I mean, in terms of significance, I agree.
Yeah, that was
last
like
year,
it was a fun moment, but then you're kind of like, yeah, but we're still
whatever.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, at least last year was like we were legit.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm hyped as a Finn fan right now. I'm
Me too.
optimistic.
Me too. I'm optimistic too. I think you know it's been a struggle, but we have a solid team.
Yeah,
I still think since I've been a Dolphin fan, best team that we've had.
1000%.
So
yeah, we definitely got to do a Finn's pod though.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down. I could talk Dolphins all day, and I know my history. I know my Dolphins history.
Yeah, 100%.
So we'll have fun.
So last question is obviously podcast is Stay Tranquilo.
Uh-huh.
Usually I ask what does it mean to stay tranquilo to you, but I want to kind of change the question around a little bit.
Okay.
How can you apply the term stay tranquilo to the life as an officer?
You know, it's fun. It's really funny you ask this question because when I was in the car on the way here, I had said to myself, and I'll do this, you know, when I know I'm going on something, I'm kind of start, you know, going through scenarios in my head if I'm gonna say. And I remember I like the name first of all. Stay Tranquilo, great name. And then I was like, you know what? That's like half of my life as a police officer, telling people, oye, tranquilo, stay tranquilo. And in English, just relax. As an officer on the street, that's what you're telling people half the time. Like, hey, just relax. You sit down, just relax. So it really does resonate with a police officer.
I can imagine.
And man, and in life also, it's a great name because sometimes going back to talking about how life can be so difficult but sometimes you just gotta stay tranquilo.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just gotta realize that for all the hardships we're going through, never forget all the blessings that you have too.
Amen.
Because for all the hard times, sometimes just relax, take a step back and say, yes, this is a little difficult right now, but I've got my 2-year-old, I've got my 4-year-old, I have a home over my head, I have a career, I have a family, I have all these things that we're used to having it. So we're gonna focus on that one bad thing. So sometimes stay tranquilo. I live by that, not specific mantra, but in the same way of just kind of saying, you know, sometimes just relax and take life easy because we're here one minute, we're gone the next. And the time that we're here, make sure you enjoy life and don't live life, don't stumble through life just focusing on all the hard. Because you know what I've learned? There's always going to be something. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's always gonna be. You can be the richest, you can be the poorest. You can be. What the richest people have problems. The poorest people have issues. The middle class have it. Like, we're humans, and there's always gonna be something that is bothering you or that's difficult. Whether it's a relationship, a love life, a family, or something. So sometimes it's just you gotta put that to the side and really enjoy life for what it is. And number one, if you're healthy, it starts right there because there's many people that the healthcare workers are out there dealing with. That would kill to have your and my health right now. So just waking up is a blessing right there.
Amen to
and
that,
the rest is perspective after that.
Yeah, I love that. No, sure. I big reason why I started it to begin with was those, that kind of exact mentality.
Cool.
Sometimes we get caught up in things and problems in life that are inevitable, but sometimes we just need to kind of level ourselves out a little bit and just say, hey, everything's gonna be all right, everything's good.
Sure.
Bob Marley was a big inspiration, to this. And sometimes you just need that perspective shift in your head. Because you're in
that hamster wheel and you need someone to knock you off and be like, hey, calm down.
And then on top of it, the Miami people also need to
calm down a little bit on the streets out there.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty good lately.
It's been good. That's good. Well, appreciate it, bro.
No, thank you for having me, man.
It was a ton of fun, and we definitely got to do another one for some sports talk.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, whenever we could do something else.
Thanks for having me, man.
Excited. Appreciate
it, bro. Thank you,
sir.
Yeah.